The galaxy was quiet that day. No wars, no alarms. It's just the normal sounds of stars breathing, ships moving, and diplomats talking across. Light-years. Terran sat at his desk in the Galactic Union's central tower. He was a young alien with bright blue skin and gentle eyes. He had worked for the Union for 5 years, helping translate messages from new species. It was not an exciting job, but he liked it. He liked understanding others. But that day, something strange happened. A human ship entered Union space, only one. Just a single starship, smooth and silver, without weapons, without escort. It didn't respond to messages. It didn't change course. It simply moved forward slowly, quietly toward the heart of the Union. Everyone was confused and worried. Why would humans come alone? The council leader asked during a broadcast. Why no message first? Why not send a team or a fleet? No one had an answer. Terran didn't speak in the meeting. He only listened. But deep inside, something felt heavy. Not heavy like fear, but like loneliness. It reminded him of someone. Years ago, Terran had a friend. Her name was Eleron, and she had come from Earth. She was part of the early human exchange team to the Union. She and Terran had worked together on many projects. They shared music, they had talked about family, they walked the tall gardens at night, and watched the stars. Eleron always smiled when Terran said something funny. She taught him about human art, and he taught her about alien birds. But then, she left. Earth had called her back for a new mission, something secret and important. She promised to write. She promised to come back. But after a few weeks, the messages stopped. Taurine waited. He sent her short notes. I hope you're safe. The garden still smells like that fruit you liked. I miss talking. No answer. Months passed, then a year, and now this strange human ship flying alone through space. Something in Terran's chest stirred. A mix of sadness and hope. Could she be on that ship? The Union decided to track the starship closely. They sent drones to watch it. But the ship didn't stop. It didn't open communications. It didn't slow down. It just moved forward. Terran stared at the data every day. The ship was not old, but not new either. It had no weapons, no strange energy. Just quiet engines, soft signals, and peaceful silence. He studied it like a poem with missing words. I don't think it's here to fight, Taran said to his manager one morning. His manager, a grumpy green creature with 3 eyes, shook his head. Then why not talk? Terran didn't know, but he remembered something Alarin once said. Sometimes humans do hard things alone, not because they're proud, but because they're scared they won't be welcomed. Those words stayed in his mind all day. Was this ship a message or a question? That evening, Taran walked alone through the garden. Stars above were the same as always, but tonight they felt closer. He sat on a stone bench where he and Alaran used to talk. He pulled out the small wooden charm she once gave him, a tiny carved sun from her home. He held it tight. Where are you? He whispered. Suddenly his communicator buzzed. A soft tone. A new update. He looked down. The human ship was now at the border of the inner systems, still moving, still silent. And then stopped. Just outside the homeworld of the Union Council, it floated there. It's like a question waiting for an answer. Terran's heart beat faster. He didn't know what this meant. He didn't know what to do. But he knew one thing. He wanted to believe. He wanted to hope. That ship wasn't just a mystery. It was a connection. Maybe to Elarn. Maybe to Earth. Maybe to something more. Back in his small room, Terran wrote a message. Not official. Not from the Union, just from him, to the ship, to whoever might listen. I don't know why you came alone, he typed slowly, but I'm here, and I remember, and I still care. He sent it not through the government lines, but through an old personal channel. Maybe it wouldn't reach anyone. Maybe it would be ignored. But maybe, just maybe, someone out there needed to hear it, and maybe, just maybe, the quiet ship was not a mystery, but a message of hope. The human ship did not move. It just floated outside the capital system. Like a lonely star, Taurine stared at it from the observation window. Every day he came to the same spot, hoping something would change. Hoping the ship would blink its lights, send a signal, or even open a door. But nothing happened. Not a single sound, not a single word. Still. Terran kept coming. He told himself it was part of his job to monitor the ship, take notes, and report updates. But deep down, he knew it wasn't just duty. It was something more inside him. There was an empty space. It had started the day Alarin left. He remembered how she looked that last day standing in the launch dock, her dark hair pulled back, her eyes soft. "I'll be back," she had said. He believed her. For weeks after, he checked his messages. Every morning, sometimes even at night, he waited for her stories, what she saw, what she felt, what Earth was like after being gone for so long, but her channel stayed quiet. Terran sent one message every week. Not long ones, just short thoughts. "I saw a bird that looked like your drawings today. The garden's fruit trees are blooming again. Hope you're okay." He never got a reply. Now, every time he looked at the silent human ship, it reminded him of her, a beautiful vessel, full of light and wonder. But far away, silent, the Union tried to reach the ship many times, first with words, then images, then music. Nothing worked. Some council members became impatient. They are hiding something. One said, "No species sends a ship without a reason," said another. "Maybe it's broken." But Terran didn't believe that. He believed there was a reason, a human reason. He remembered a story Alarin once told him. It was about an old Earth astronaut who had traveled alone to a distant moon. The journey was long and cold, and people had asked him later why he went by himself. "Because the silence helped me listen," the man had said. Alarin liked that story now. Terran wondered, was this ship doing the same? One night, Terran sat alone in the communication room. The others had gone home. The lights were low. The stars outside twinkled like soft sparks. He looked at the ship on the screen. Still no changes. Then, without thinking too much, he opened a private message channel. This one was not official, not Union-approved. It was just personal to the human ship, or maybe to her. He took a deep breath and typed slowly. "I don't know if you're out there, Aileron. I don't know if you can hear this, but I miss the way you explained human paintings. I miss our walks. And I miss feeling like we understood each other." He paused. His fingers hovered over the keys. Then he added, "If this ship is here to speak, I want to listen. If it's here to wait, I'll wait with it." He hit send. And for the first time in a long while, he felt a little lighter. The next morning, something strange happened. Not a message, not a sound, but a small flicker, one soft pulse from the ship's outer lights. It blinked once, then twice, then stayed still again. Others thought it was just a system check. But Terran wasn't so sure. It felt like a whisper, a quiet answer, like someone saying, "I'm still here." He smiled. Just a little that day when he walked through the garden, he felt the sunlight a bit warmer, the flowers a bit brighter, the silence a bit more peaceful. Maybe Aileron was still out there. Maybe the ship was more than a puzzle. Maybe. Just maybe the message wasn't broken. It was just waiting for the right ears to hear. HFY spirit. Humanity had not come to shout, to fight, or to demand. They had come quietly with trust, with patience, with hope, just like Terran, and that made him proud. Because in that one silent ship, he saw something very human, something deeply beautiful. The courage to be alone, the strength to wait, the hope to reconnect. The human ship stayed still. No words. No sound. No answer. Terran watched it every morning. He looked for signs, tiny movements, soft glows, anything. But most days it was just silence. Even so, he never missed a day. He sat at the same console, checked the same channels, and hoped. The others in the Union Tower stopped paying attention. They believed the ship was just a forgotten probe or an empty machine. Even the council stopped talking about it. But Terran, believed something was inside, something important, maybe even someone he knew. He often thought about Eleron, he remembered. The way she used to laugh, quiet but full of life. She always noticed the small things. A new color in the sky, a sound in a strange bird's call. The way the air felt before rain. Taryn missed that. He missed her stories about Earth. He missed her voice, and he missed feeling close to someone who understood him. When she left, she promised they'd stay in touch. She said distance didn't break real connections. But after she left, the silence grew louder, just like the ship. One afternoon, a small Union scout ship flew close to the human vessel. It carried a group of scientists and peace officers. Their job, what the ship no one expected much. They thought it was empty. Taryn watched the mission from the observation room. He felt nervous. What if the ship really was empty? What if the silence meant nothing? He held Eleron's small wooden sun in his hand. He kept it with him every day. It reminded him of hope, of promises, of quiet strength. The boarding team entered through a small door on the side of the human ship. They wore protective suits and spoke carefully. Then, silence. For 2 long hours, no message came from the team. Taryn stared at the screen, heart heavy. Finally, a voice returned. "Inside there is only one room," the team leader said. "It's peaceful, bright, one chair, one screen, and—" the council asked. "There's a message," the voice replied, "but not in our language." The team sent images back. Taryn studied them with care. The room was round and clean. The walls glowed with warm golden light. The chair was simple, made of polished white stone. The screen was dark, except for one small line in English. "Before we speak, you must ask yourselves, what do you truly want from humanity?" The council debated for hours. What does it mean? Why won't they just say something? Is this a trick? Taryn didn't speak. He just stared at the words again and again. They didn't feel like a warning. They felt like a mirror that night. Taryn sat alone in the garden. He closed his eyes and listened to the wind. He thought about the message. What do you truly want from humanity? He remembered all the times the Union had judged other species by their power, their numbers, their wealth. But humans. They had always been different. They didn't try to impress. With fleets they shared stories, they sent music, they asked questions. Eleron had once said something that now echoed in his heart, sometimes. Humans don't come to prove anything, she told him. They just want to be seen for who they are. Maybe that's what the ship was doing now. Not testing, not warning, just asking. The next morning, Taryn returned to the observation room. The council still argued. Should we send more ships? Should we take the human vessel apart? Should we ignore it? Taryn raised his hand. I want to speak. The room grew quiet. I believe this ship was sent not to show force, he said, but to show faith. He pointed to the message. This is not a threat. It's an invitation. Not to a war or a deal, to a deeper understanding. Some in the room shook their heads, but a few listened. After the meeting, Taryn returned to his desk. He opened a message file to the human ship. He wrote slowly. Maybe we don't know what we want yet. But I know this. I want to understand. Want to learn? And I still remember what you shared with me. He paused, then added, if this message reaches anyone, know that someone here still cares. Someone here still remembers your stories. He pressed send. The ship did not respond. But that night, it glowed softly with golden light. Just for a few minutes. Just enough HFY spirit. Humans had not sent armies or threats. They sent a quiet room, a question, a hope. And in the silence, they waited believing someone would care enough to answer. The human ship didn't move. It didn't send a reply, but the golden glow that appeared the night before stayed in Taryn's mind. He sat at his desk the next day watching the soft light of the ship on his screen. The room inside hadn't changed. Still one chair, still one message. Before we speak, you must ask yourselves, what do you truly want from humanity? The council was confused. Some were growing tired. Some wanted to force the ship open, others wanted to turn it away, but Terran still believed. He didn't know how to explain it. He just felt something, not fear, not anger, something softer, something like hope. Terran remembered. Aileron again. She had once shown him a small screen filled with images from Earth. She called it a memory book. It had pictures of her family, her city, oceans, stars, and tiny creatures called butterflies. "This is where I come from," she said. "It's not perfect, but it's full of meaning." Terran hadn't understood it at the time. He came from a world of cold moons and bright technology. To him, Earth seemed loud, messy, and strange, but Aileron's eyes were warm when she spoke of it. And now, looking at the quiet ship outside his window, Terran felt something new. He wanted to understand. Later that day, a technician ran into the observation room. "Something changed," she said. Terran stood up quickly. "What is it?" "The screen inside the ship, new images are appearing." Council gathered once more. Terran sat quietly, heart pounding. The boarding team sent back a stream of visuals. The room now showed moving pictures. The first was Earth, a slow view of blue oceans, white clouds and green land. Then images of forests, snow-covered mountains, glowing cities at night. Then came pictures of people. All kinds, young, old, joyful, crying humans helping each other, building, singing, hugging. Then the disaster storms, fires, hunger, but always people standing back up, helping others, trying again. The final part of the message was a single line, spoken in calm English. "We did not come to impress you. We came to show you who we are." Silence followed. Terran felt something press behind. His eyes, not fear, not confusion, just motion. He wasn't sure if it was sadness or joy, maybe both that evening. He returned to the garden. The sky above was clear, stars blinking like old friends. He sat where he and Aileron used to sit. The wooden charm she gave him felt warm in his hand. "I saw your world today," he whispered, looking at the stars. "And now I understand you a little more." He remembered how she once told him, "Humans make mistakes, but we try, again and again. It's our way." At the time, it seemed strange. Now it felt beautiful. Terran opened his personal message channel again. He typed slowly. "To whoever is listening on the human ship, I saw your story today, and I believe you. I believe you came not to scare us, but to remind us what strength really looks like, not power, but kindness." He paused, then added, "And Alarin, if you're out there, I saw your home, and it made me miss you more. But it also made me proud to have known you." He sent the message. No reply came, but he didn't feel sad. Not this time, he felt. Connected, even if she was far away, even if she didn't answer. The next morning, something new appeared on the human ship's screen. A soft light forming the shape of a sun, exactly like the wooden charm Alarin gave him. Terran gasped. Was it her? Was it someone else who remembered? He didn't know. But he felt seen, he felt heard, and maybe, just maybe, he was not as alone as he thought. HFY spirit, humanity didn't come to boast. It came to open their hearts, to show their journey, to remind others that trying again and again's not weakness, but strength, and that sometimes, even across stars and silence, someone still remembers, someone still hopes. Terran couldn't stop thinking about the glowing sun symbol that appeared on the ship's screen. It looked exactly like the wooden charm Alarin once gave him. It's a small carved sun from Earth, a gift, promise. He held the real one in his hand. Now, tracing its shape with his fingers, could that image be from her? Could she be watching? Or was it just a memory left behind? He didn't know. But he knew one thing: he wanted to reconnect. Even if she never answered, he needed to believe that someone out there still cared. The Galactic Union called another meeting. The human ship had not moved for many days. But now, it had sent a new message. Just a few lines. "We will not open our doors until one person chooses to come without fear. We do not wish to impress or demand. We wish to be understood." The message caused arguments in the council. "This is a trick," some leaders said. "They want to test our loyalty. Why should we agree to their terms?" But Taran didn't speak. He just sat, watching the others, listening inside. He felt something very different to him. The message was not a demand. It was a question about trust. Later that day, Taran walked the long hallway outside the Union Tower. He passed others going about their work. Many of them didn't talk about the ship anymore. They had grown bored, tired of the mystery, tired of waiting. But Taran still cared, not just about the ship, about what it meant, about who it might carry. He missed Ilaran more than ever now, and even though he had no clear path to reach her, he felt that the ship was the only thread left, the only bridge between them. He didn't want to let go. That evening, Taran stood at his window. The human ship floated far away. Still glowing softly like a star that refused to fade, he took a deep breath and spoke out loud. Even though no one could hear him, "If what you need is someone to come, I will." The next morning, he stood before the council. "I want to volunteer," he said, "to go alone to the human ship." The room fell silent. "You?" a senior officer asked. "You're not a commander? You're not trained in security?" "Don't need to be," Taran said calmly. "This isn't a mission of control. It's a mission of understanding." The council hesitated. Finally, the leader spoke. "We will not stop you, but we also cannot protect you." Taran nodded. "Understand." But in his heart, he didn't feel afraid. He felt ready. As the small shuttle flew toward the human ship, Taran stared out the window. He thought about Eleanor's smile, her laugh, the way she always saw beauty in quiet places. He thought about all the words he never got to say. He hoped deeply that maybe somehow she would hear him now. The shuttle connected to the ship's docking port with a soft click. The doors opened slowly. Inside, the same warm light filled the air. Taran stepped forward. The room was exactly as described. A single chair, a soft golden glow, and a new message on the screen. "Thank you for coming. Before we share more, we invite you to speak." Taran's breath caught. They wanted to hear him? He sat down. The chair was smooth and warm. He looked at the screen. He didn't know what to say at first, but then, from somewhere deep inside, the words came. "I'm here because I believe in quiet things," he said, "in kindness that doesn't shout, in memories that still live even when the people are far away." He paused, holding up the small wooden sun. "A long time ago, someone I cared about gave me this. She left, and I haven't heard from her since, but I never stopped believing in her. And when your ship came, I felt something again, something I had lost." Taran closed his eyes for a moment. "I don't know if she's on this ship. I don't know if this message will reach her. But I came anyway. Because hope is not always loud. Sometimes it's just one person, walking into the unknown." For a moment, the ship stayed silent. Then the room began to change. The screen brightened. A soft voice, human warm, spoke. "Welcome. We hear you." And the walls around him began to show new images of stars, of Earth, of people, and of one person. Smiling in a garden under alien trees, Taran's heart stopped. It was her, HFY spirit. Humanity had not come to prove strength. They had come to ask for trust, not from governments, but from hearts. And sometimes just one voice answering with hope is all it takes. Taran sat in the soft, glowing chair inside the human ship. The room around him was quiet and calm. The walls no longer showed stars or messages. Now they showed faces, smiling faces, dad faces, human faces. Then one face appeared, and it took his breath away. Dada Rand. Her face was just as he remembered, bright eyes, soft smile, hair gently falling to her shoulders. She was standing in a garden, not the one on Earth, the garden they once walked through together on the Union homeworld. And in her hand, She held a wooden sun, just like his. Terran couldn't move. His heart was full of questions, of hope, of longing. Was this a recording? Was she here? Had she remembered him? A door in the corner of the room slowly opened. Terran turned. A figure stepped into the light. It was her, Arn. She wore a simple white suit with a golden badge. Her eyes met his and, filled with tears. They both stood still for a moment, not sure what to say. Then she stepped forward. "I didn't know if you'd come," she said softly. Terran felt something deep inside: sadness, joy, everything all at once. "I didn't know if you'd remember me," he replied. Arn smiled and her voice shook. "I never forgot. I just couldn't reach out. This mission had to stay quiet." They sat side by side in the golden room. Terran held the charm in his hand. She gently touched it. "You kept it," she whispered. "I carried it every day." He said. For a long time they sat in silence. But it was not an empty silence. It was full of feelings, full of the space between them, and full of the quiet hope that had never truly left. Arn explained everything. The mission was called the Listening Light. It was a peaceful journey, a quiet message, a test not of power, but of patience. Earth wanted to know, she said, if the galaxy could accept us without fear, without pressure, not through force, but through feeling. That's why you came alone, Terran said. She nodded. We didn't want to arrive with ships and noise. We wanted someone to care enough to come. Just one person, like we did. And if no one came, Terran asked, then we'd wait longer, she replied. Because true connection takes time. Real friendship cannot be rushed. Terran felt the sadness of the last year rise inside him again. I missed you, he said. Arn looked down. I missed you too. Every day, I read every message you sent. I cried sometimes, but I couldn't answer. I had to stay silent until someone came with an open heart. She reached out and touched his hand. You came. The walls of the ship began to glow again, new. Images appeared of Terran speaking of his messages, of his garden visits, of him holding the wooden sun. You were the first, Arn said, to truly listen. Terran smiled. I wasn't sure you'd ever hear me. I did, she whispered, outside the ship. The Galactic Union still waited. They didn't know what was happening inside. They didn't know that two friends had found each other again, that sadness was being healed by hope, that a small, silent room had brought two hearts back together. Terran looked around. This ship, he said, it's more than a message. It's a mirror. Arn nodded. Yes, we hoped someone would see that. What happens now? He asked. She smiled. We opened the door. Hey, Chef Spirit. Humans didn't come with force. They came with silence. They waited not for power, but for connection. For one soul brave enough to care. For one heart open enough to listen. And in that quiet moment, they proved something stronger than any weapon. The power of human hope. The human ship glowed softly in the darkness of space. From far away, it looked like a lonely star. But inside, something warm was happening. Terran stood beside Arn in the golden room. They had talked for hours about old memories, about the mission, and about the long silence between them. Even though she had been far, even though he had felt alone, she had never stopped thinking of him. And now, she was right there. He still couldn't believe it. I thought I lost you, Terran said, his voice quiet. I thought the same, Arn replied. But I hoped you'd remember me. I hoped you'd believe in what this ship meant. Didn't know how to reach you, he said, so I just kept sending messages. That's what humans do, she said with a smile. Even when we don't know if someone's listening, we hope. Terran looked down at the small wooden sun in his hand. I almost gave up once, he said. But something inside told. Me too. Wait. She gently touched his arm. I'm glad you did. A soft sound filled the room, a peaceful chime. The walls began to shift again. The golden light faded into a calm silver, and the screen in front of them lit up. Words appeared. The message has been received. The door will now open. Arn smiled. It's time, she said. Time for what? Terran asked. For the galaxy to see what this was really about. Outside the ship, Union ships waited. When the human vessel opened its outer doors, lights shined gently into space. Not bright, not loud, just soft and welcoming. From the observation towers, Terrans, colleagues watched in silence. The message they had waited for was here, but it wasn't a speech. It wasn't a weapon. It wasn't even a command. It was story. From the human ship, a signal was sent to every Union world, not just to leaders, but to everyone. People in homes, in schools, in markets. On Starship, Saul saw the same thing, a short video of Earth's history, its struggles, its failures, its kindness, its courage. And finally, it showed a single sentence. We came not to lead, not to rule, but to walk beside you. Terran stood at the main window of the ship now, watching the Union worlds react. Some sent messages of thanks. Some cried. Some sat in stunned silence. And many asked the same question. Why did you only send one ship? Terran finally understood the answer. It's not about numbers, he said. It's about trust. It's about believing one voice. One story, one connection is enough to begin. Laren looked at him with pride. You've always understood more than most. The next day, the council asked Terran to speak. He stood before them not as a soldier, not as a leader, but as someone who had simply cared. He told them the truth about the mission, about Eleron, about the silence, and about hope. At the end of his speech, he said, when someone you care about moves away, it's easy to feel forgotten. But sometimes they're just waiting for someone to believe enough to reach out. Humanity did that. And I answered, the council did not argue. They simply stood in quiet respect. Across the galaxy, something had changed. Not because of power, but because of patience, because of one ship, one message, one heart that kept hoping. That evening, Terran and Eleron walked through the Union Garden, the same path they used to take long ago. Nothing had changed, and everything had. The flowers still bloomed. The stars still glowed. But now they were side by side again. I'm glad you came, she said. I'm glad you waited, he said. They smiled. No more distance. No more silence. Just two people. Reconnecting one step at a time. HFY spirit, humanities. Greatest strength was not their ships, their science, or their speed. It was their heart, the ability to wait, to trust, to send one ship into the unknown, not for power, but for peace. And in the quiet of space, they were heard. 'Cause one soul believed they were worth listening to.